Hey everyone, Ariel Adams here with aBlogtoWatch. Please subscribe to our videos on YouTube and like this video if you find it useful. This is a review of the Casio G-Shock Master of G Gravitymaster GPW-2000, aka GPW-2000. I think this is the GPW-2000-1A or maybe 3A. That's a lot of numbers and names to remember, and that's okay. That's my job. I'm a watch industry professional. This is Casio's latest and greatest Gravitymaster, which is the Pilot's Watch themed Master of G watch, which is sort of the higher end echelon of G-Shock watches. What does that mean for you as a consumer? It means more advanced technology, meaning all the latest and greatest stuff goes into here first before it's trickled down to other things. Better materials, better construction quality, produced in Japan at the manufacturer in the Yamagata prefecture, which I've been to, which is awesome, and we have a review on that, or a visit article on aBlogtoWatch, which is cool. This is the second major watch in the GPS family of the Gravitymasters. The GPW-1000 came out last year, the year before that, and now the 2000 upgrades it in a lot of significant ways. The most important thing is the GPS sensor itself is somewhere like 20% smaller in size, which means the watch, even though it is a big watch, is appreciably more wearable than the previous version. That makes a big difference because the other one was giant. Casio distinguishes its GPS watches in a couple of ways. One of the ways is by having redundancy in terms of some of the sensors that allow it to update the time. And I really want to talk about that because I think it's really cool and interesting. By the way, here's the app for this watch. So this is a Bluetooth watch as well as a GPS watch, and I'll explain why that is. So there's something called Casio Connect. I think that's the term that they use now. And it implies a few things. It's kind of their overall term for the watches that have Bluetooth connectivity, and that's going to be more and more the fact with a lot of these G-Shocks. They're going to have Bluetooth connectivity, not for things like notifications, but to do things like update the time. Because Casio's dream is to have a watch that will always be charged, meaning there's always battery life, always be accurate, know how to set itself, and be very, very durable. And that is something that they achieve very well, and especially with this new technology. And I'll explain. So there's a triple redundancy. So this is how the watch works in order to update the time wherever you are in the world. The first thing it does is it checks Bluetooth. That's the easiest way possible, and it just checks Bluetooth for the time on your phone, which is essentially internet time, which is atomic clock time. So that is the accurate time, and it does that I want to say once a day, maybe twice a day, something like that, in order to update the time. You can, of course, do it manually as well. If that fails, meaning that your phone isn't around, it's not connected to a phone, or your phone isn't in range of something, then it will go and use the radio signals from the atomic clock. So if there's an atomic clock close by, you happen to be somewhere in the world, that sends out radio signals. And this watch has the technology to pick that up, just like many other Casio watches do. If that doesn't work, then it consults GPS, because that is the most power-intensive way of doing it. It will consult GPS, and it will be able to pick up the accurate time and date information that way, which is really, really cool. This is also, I believe, the first one where you can see the latitude and the longitude of your location. I forgot the exact button. There's 4 buttons on this case, as well as the Smart Axis crown. So there's a lot of ways to basically use it. I don't want to embarrass myself by doing it and be like, what am I doing here? I know how to do the basic stuff, but Casio doesn't really actually want you messing with the watch too much. It wants you to change the mode. It really wants you just to be able to use it and be able to rely on it. And they do such a good job at that sometimes we need to adjust something, you forget. Actually, the app is kind of fun because it helps you do some of those things. So for example, you want to change the world time. You can do that in the app and it will update the watch. If you want to change the alarm or the timer, you can do that as well using the app. So that's pretty cool that you can use the app on the phone to set something on the watch that you're not necessarily sure. And actually what I like is you can see here that on the application on the watch, it's the exact right time, so it's ticking in perfect synchronization, which is pretty cool. One of the things that they have here is something called flight log, which allows you to push this button right here and do a time or a stamp, a time stamp with location of where of any place you are in the world. This is apparently a feature that pilots wanted. I haven't played with this too much. I did one point here, you can see. I had a little trouble connecting, meaning to get this to work properly. It might be a bug with the app, or maybe I have an early version of the watch. I do get that sometimes. So I think Casio's probably sorted that out by now. But as of right now, when I do the feature, which is meant to record the timestamp, I had a little trouble with it. So I need to probably figure that out. But if you have trouble with it, you're not the only one in the world. So the application is actually pretty useful because it's really great to have that interaction between phone and watch. And there's something about that that feels very, very natural and very useful, and something which is authentically very welcome. I like the fact that I can adjust the watch with the phone, that there's an interaction between the two, that they talk to one another, but it's so much more than you have a missed call and then the seconds hand moves somewhere and it tells me I should check my phone. Casio is not interested in that for this type of watch experience, and I'm happy. I think that the integration between the phone and the watch is natural. The Casio Connect that uses that triple redundancy to update the time is cool and smart, and it does cool stuff like that. I love here how this moves on the bottom. This is part of the mode selector, and you can see you stopwatch here, so I put it in stopwatch mode, and because it's an all analog dial, they have to reuse hands. So for example, I start that, and I've just started the stopwatch, and now I have a full 12-hour chronograph, and these two hands here are used for the minutes and the hours, and I can stop it and I can start it again. So you have all those different modes. You have a timer, you have alarms like I said, and then you have a full calendar. Some of the things on the dial I just want to point out, so down here you can see these hands moving around there. That's going to be your second time zone, so you can set that to wherever you want. Right here you have the day of the week, but that hand also is used for when you're in this particular mode to check the latitude, because it tells you there. The longitude is actually interestingly told on this disc down here. So part of the disc somewhere, I don't know where it is on the dial exactly, shows the longitude. So you have both of those numbers here. Here is a AM PM hand. Here's the date. Legibility is great. There is a backlight function. You can see it right there. I love how it dims out slowly. That's just so sexy how they do that. But the hour hands, and the hands and the hour markers are all, of course, done in luminous material. Really great looking watch. This Gravitymaster is a sexy one. The last version was not the most attractive watch in the world to me, but this one is really great. And at this price level, you get a lot of great materials in the case. You get the best resin that they have right now. You get a carbon fiber inside the strap there, so the strap is a lot more durable. You have this carbon fiber bar. This replaces the spring bar, and it's just meant to be extremely durable. This thing will not separate. Unless you basically take this thing apart, you are not going to get the strap off this case. And it's done to make that, because that was actually the weakest point in a lot of these watches. You have this little thin metal bar, and if this thing gets caught on something or it snags, that thing would just break and boom, your watch is gone. So that's a cool thing, and it's really cool to see the carbon fiber piece right there. The crystal is sapphire, so that's what you get on, of course, higher end watches, but at $800, which is the price of this watch, it's good that they include that in there. Let's put it on. Watch is big, but it's comfortable. Like I say many times, no one makes a big watch more comfortable than Casio. So that's the Gravitymaster GPW-2000. Strap is a little bit on the longer side for me, but again, I have small wrists. Metal hardware there, which is really nice. It's a sharp looking timepiece. Everyone likes this thing, as do I. It's very legible. It's easy to live with. The functionality is smart. It probably does a little bit more things than you'll know what to do with. I think it goes without saying that this is a solar movement. And I say it goes without saying because pretty much every one of the high-end G-Shocks are, or even the mid-range G-Shocks. That means that light will enter through the dial and power the battery. So again, You never have to charge it. You never have to change the battery. It needs light, of course. You never have to set the time. It's supposed to be the watch that you never have to really worry about or deal with. And then they've added this other extra functionality. So as a tool watch, as a modern tool watch, this is great. This is cutting edge. And that's why I really love Casio so much, because they continue to do stuff like that. I'm going to push this button again here. I just love seeing like things move. I'm not even sure exactly what this pusher does. It goes into a mode that I don't always understand, where it push it there. And then this thing moves down here. And then it just says UTC in orange, probably for some setting. But I just really wanted to move that dial down there because I think it's cool. And then it moves back. Just a nice smooth motion. It's a high-end rotation of that disc. You know, those motors work well. That seconds hand, I believe that's one of their fancier ones. It's like made out of carbon fiber, so it can move really fast like that. Just a lot of cool, very intelligent stuff that the Casio engineers have obviously put a lot of time into. Fantastic watch. If you like gadgets and you have utility for this stuff and you're a traveler, you're going to find a lot of things to like in this timepiece. Casio did a fantastic job. Again, this is the Casio G-Shock Master of G Gravitymaster GPW-2000. The price is $800. You can see the full review on aBlogtoWatch. Thanks.